All right. Proverbs chapter 4, verses 1 through 5. It says, "Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Pay attention and gain understanding. I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. For I too was a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me, and he said to me, take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn from them." So what do those verses teach us about the responsibility of a parent teaching biblical truth and godly wisdom to their children? Yeah, generation to generation, right? Solomon is saying, listen, my son, to my instruction. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. And he's saying, I learned it from my dad. My dad passed it on to me. And so it's just a generation to generation to generation thing. Where else do we see that is a big part of God's intention? That faith is passed from generation to generation. Where else do we see that in the Bible? Anybody know of a passage off the top of their head? Deuteronomy chapter 6 starts out and says, "These are the commands, decrees, and laws the Lord your God directed me to teach you to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess." Now remember, this is the book of Deuteronomy, so they're on the other side of the Jordan River, looking across the river at the promised land. They're about to cross in. So he says, "So that you, your children, and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy long life." Skip down to verse 4. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. These commands that I give you today are to be on your heart," as Joyce reminded us. "Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up." What's left out there? Yeah, all day long. There's nothing really left out, right? If you're walking, if you're lying down, if you're sitting, be sharing your knowledge and love and devotion to God with your kids, basically is what he's saying. "Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads." It needs to be all about what we know, how we act. "Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates." Now, the Jews took this as little phylacteries and little tiny wrapped up verses and stuck that on the doorframes of their homes, but I don't think God's really talking about, writing something on a small piece of paper and sticking it on the doorframe of your house. I think he's saying, let this be the thing that marks your home. The Word of God, your love for God, your devotion to God. Okay? So, back to Proverbs. So, it's a generational thing. Most of us in here are grandparents. What's a grandparent's responsibility in passing on their faith? Teaching the kids the Bible, same thing, absolutely. Yeah. Set the example. Yeah. Do the exact same thing he was talking about in Deuteronomy. Hopefully the parents are doing it, and if the grandparents are supporting that and coming alongside and doing the same thing, the faith gets passed on, and it just grows and builds and continues on generation after generation.